Hello and welcome back to Fantabulous Handbags, where we do product development sketches for handbag product development. Imagine that. Okay, so what I got here is actually a portfolio. It looks like a giant clutch, which is actually what a lot of things these days are. I don't know, it became a thing, but it used to be in the olden days when people actually had paper portfolios and then put them online. They had actually something called a portfolio. This is a grain leather one, so you can see, and it has a little tab here. It has a little cute top handle here with detail sliding and a gusset. So let's go ahead. Yes, folding gusset. Okay, so let's go ahead and measure him, and we'll get an idea of our proportions. So we got 10.5 by 14.5. Very good. Okay, so let's get a little closer. And let's start to draw. Okay, ooh, got a little bit of a fleek there. Okay, so I'm just going to go from, use my metal ruler, trusty metal ruler. I'm going to go from inches to centimeters, and that is going to give me a pretty good proportion. So let's go ahead and try there. Okay, let's go 14.5. That's what I said, and 10.5. Okay, so I'm going to do a 3/4 view as usual, because that's pretty much what you do to start with. You can do front, back, side if you're doing a very detailed sketch. You don't have to, but sometimes it's a good idea too. Okay, I'm gonna try that one at some point. Okay, so here we go. What I'm drawing here is I'm drawing the outline of the gusset, the folding collapsible gusset. So the first thing we have here is the bottom of the bag curves in to the bottom underneath, and then the gusset comes out. So then we do that, and then make sure that we're following our proportion. I said it was 10.5. Okay, so it should be around there. Okay, there. Not too bad. Okay. So now you want to cheat this angle a little bit shorter to just give it a foreshortening. Obviously, you're going to add correct measurements, especially if you have them placed in the spec format. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so we're moving right along. Okay, let's check to make sure. Yeah, we clipped off about a few millimeters. Okay, so now we're going to draw the top of our portfolio. Is kind of squared off, so we're going to do a squared off idea here. And you want to make sure that you give all the details of the construction. For example, here I'm showing the way the flap folds over. I think the original flap is how long? 5.5. So let's do that. I'm going to figure out where that would be. More or less 5.5 is here. Okay. So we're going to give ourselves a nice proportionate look. There we go. And when you're doing straight lines, don't be embarrassed to use your ruler. You can totally use your ruler. No one judges. No one pays attention anyway. Especially if you're in New York, no one pays attention to anything. I was in the subway and someone was dressed like Pharaoh and no one took a second look at him. Okay. Why? I don't remember exactly why. It wasn't Halloween. I don't remember why he was dressed like Pharaoh, but he was dressed like Pharaoh and with a scepter and the skirt thing and the whole shebang, and no one took a second look at him. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so wherever you made a mistake, this is the time to correct it. If you don't like your shape, erase it now while it's in pencil. Okay. All right, there. That's much better. It's a much better look. And don't be afraid if you're working with samples that you don't like. Don't be afraid to throw in improvements that you know will be more attractive. Remember that when you're a designer, you're only as good as your last season, so you want to make sure that everything looks fabulous. Okay, so this isn't going to have all sorts of details on it, like shadows so much that are not anything but angular because it's such a straight item. Okay, all right, so now we have our pencil. Okay, so now want to make sure that all the details are in there. Okay, so that was pretty darn easy. Except, of course, we have to do our little handle doohickey over here, whatever the heck this is. See, let's zoom out again. See, we have this handle detail that we have to do. All right, so let's go ahead and measure that. Let's see, where did we go? So this puppy is 9 3/8. I'm going to draw it with a little bit of a lift on it so people realize that it lifts. Obviously, when you're doing a spec, you'll draw it flat and you will draw it expanded so that the factory knows. And of course, you will also explain this in your spec details. Okay. All right, let's get back down. All right, that's boogie. Okay, so I'm gonna find out where the middle of this is so we can put our handle in there. All right, so this is more or less the middle. So say like there. Give yourself an idea of where the handle actually attaches. It has some like attachment loops that are inserted. Okay, so I'm gonna make it go up a little bit. There we are. All right, so now we draw in our handle. This is really what's going to distinguish it from a clutch. A clutch won't have any of this stuff most of the time. I mean, they do sometimes have that weird handle that you slide your hand into. Actually, I'm not liking this. I think I made a mistake with the proportion. Yeah, that's looking too small. Let's go ahead and do it again. Like I said, now is the time to fix. Okay. Again. Okay, so I got, this is the middle measurement. Oh, I know what I did. It's actually 6, not 3. Okay. There's like a 6-inch space between these two bar things here. So I'm going to just do that now. Okay. Again, let's do our loops. Remember, we want everything to have that 3-dimensional look to it. So we draw it in. Okay, so now, obviously we're drawing through the bag. All that'll get erased. Okay, so we have a little bit more there. Okay, so now we go ahead and draw that in. Okay, everybody makes mistakes once in a while. And you will too. Which is why pencils have erasers. Okay, so let's see if you're happy with the way it looks. We'll proceed. I think I'm okay with this. Okay, so next thing we need to do, just make sure that the measurements here, you see this looks a little bit too long to me. I'm wondering why. Let me just make sure that our measurements are, I think this needs to be cheated in a little bit. You can always cheat in things a little bit. Remember that when you're doing foreshortening, it makes things look artificially skinnier. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, that looks better. Okay, very good. Okay, so now we have our basic shape. We're going to go ahead and do our, let's put a piece of paper behind us. We're going to do our outline. Now the outline, we always do it in a heavier, chunkier Sharpie or brush marker, whatever you think and whatever you like, because you have to be comfortable with what you're doing. And you have to make the product development sketch very understandable for everybody. Not just yourself, but a sample hand and probably a buyer and your boss, okay, your immediate boss. So let's go around the outer edge. Or if we have straight lines, we'll go over with the ruler. Oh, that Sharpie looks like it has seen better days. Okay, that's all right. Some people actually like using dry markers. I don't know why. It does have kind of a look to it. I don't know. Okay, so here is our gusset detail. Now we're going to go up here. And we're going to go under. And here. Wherever is an edge of a bag or an edge of a handle that's three-dimensional. In other words, it's not a seam. It's not laying on top of something and sewn onto something. You want to make sure that you give it a thick, bold line. All right. So let's go back. Including things that stand away like a pocket flap or something like that. You want to make sure you use that bold marker. Okay, here we go. We're doing great. All right, here we go. We are doing good. All right. Excuse me, got a little allergies happening, but that's okay. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and do all of our thick marker details. Okay. Now we're going to do, what happened there? I don't know, whatever. Okay. All right, so now, all right. All right, almost there. Okay, now we're going to add a little bit here to this pull tab idea because, you know, it does come away. Let's see. All right. Okay, I think that's enough heavy duty marker. Now we're going to go to our fine line, El Cheapo Precision, or Precise or whatever, by Pilot. You can use Fancy Schmancy if you want. Just remember that it's like $5 more a pen, which is fine. If you are comfortable with that and you have the money to do it, go right ahead. So the next thing we're doing is we're going to take our fine line our fine line pen, and we're going to go around all the details. See, now we're having a raw edge here. Originally, the one that we were doing actually did not have a raw edge. It had a turned-in edge at all certain points. I personally like a raw edge, so I'm just going to give it a raw edge. You can do whatever you want. However, if you are working and copying stuff, you better make sure that if you do make changes, your boss, supervisor, art director, whomever is okay with any changes you make. And obviously follow any changes they give you. So here we go. Okay, so there. So now let's go ahead and we're going to give ourselves all the edge details that we need, because that's in fact what makes it become more alive and well understood. Very important by the sample hands that are going to be working. If you're working with a factory in India or China, it's possible they speak good English, but it's possible that they don't. It's very possible that they don't. It's obviously going to be a second language to them, except maybe in India. And you want to make sure that your sketches are very, very close to what they need to be in terms of what the sample hand's going to see. You want them to see the sketch and say, oh, that's an expandable gusset. Oh, that's a tab. Oh, that's, top stitching, edge paint, whatever. And also the general shape of your bag. Okay, so next up we go ahead and do your stitching. Now, you could actually do all of this on computer, or a little bit of it. You could do like the outline. If you're comfortable doing outlines more in pencil, you can do them and then put the top stitch on the computer. You could do it all on the computer. People do both. It's really up to you what you are most comfortable with. You can put the top stitch by hand like this, or use a ruler. All right. Okay, this had a little stitch here too. Okay, so we're speeding on along. Okay, this also had details, so we want to make sure that we put them in. All right, remember, if it has a Bombay edge, you make sure to put that in there. All right, all right, all right. So we're doing very nicely. And, whoa, just hit myself against my camera. That was pretty funny. Okay. All right, we're doing well. Bombade edge detail. Okay, so we're almost ready. We just need to finish up on our top stitch. All right, let's get this edge over here. All right, you can also, if it's easier for you to do, it's easier for me anyway, do top stitching up and down instead of sideways. Move your sketch any which way is more comfortable for you. Next week, we're just going to colorize this. We're maybe going to find some nice leather grain ideas, or maybe we'll put one together from our gradient library on Adobe Illustrator. Might be fun. And there we are. Okay, actually we missed something. This guy also had a top stitch for some reason. It doesn't need to have a top stitch, and it had like a... Okay, there. Ta-da! Okay, so we're finished with our sketch. It's pretty good. Okay, somebody's calling me and I'm not going to answer. Okay, so let's go ahead and erase all our edges. And there we go. Okay, so getting rid of our pencil marks. Very good. Okay. Okay. Ta-da. Okay, so hope you liked our class. Hope you found something instructive about it. And I'll see you next week when we colorize this on Adobe Illustrator. Okay, bye.